Hello, everyone. This is Andreas, Pop Culture Guy. I'm live right now. Let me get into Jeff here. Hello, Jeff. How you doing? We're live now. Cyber should be here right now. How you doing, sir?
I'm okay.
That's good. That's good. Well, can't believe it. Today it's going to be another Penguin episode and a Daryl Dixon this week. So that's good.
I don't watch until Monday.
Oh yeah, yeah, same here. Yeah, yeah. I usually watch the Penguin first, and then I you know,
I watched Daryl Dixon. I watched Daryl Dixon first. We only got 2 more episodes left, and then it's over.
yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, Saber's here.
Are you ready to? Are you ready to start doing prophecy in November?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the first two films, so I'm very excited to go into the Dune universe very well. So yeah, I got a lot of hopes for it. I mean, great cast in that movie, so I think it's going to be a big one. So which is good.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that new trailer yet, but
Oh yeah, yeah, it's good. It's a good trailer. Cyber, how you doing, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
Very good, very good. Happy Sunday as usual. Let me change here. This background. Just a moment. Anyway, so what the heck I'm doing? Good tool for this. All right. Okay. Are you good? All right. All right. So as everyone's here
what are you doing, sir?
working. That's what I'm doing. I'm working on a couple things and multitask. So anyway, so tonight we're gonna review Heathers, the 1989 classic comedy age film. Of course, starring Winona Ryder and of course Kristen Slater. And yeah, this is of course written by Daniel Waters. If you know the writer, he's the one that did Batman Returns. The main story he wrote before Don credit uh, rewrites by Wesley Strick. But anyway, so yeah. This is how you guys doing? And I'll start with you, Saber. Did you see the film in theater? What's your thoughts on this film before we go into the whole section of the film?
I did not see this in theater. I saw this maybe just a couple years ago.
Okay.
I had never seen it. I didn't see it in the 80s. I didn't see it in the 90s. I didn't see it in the early 2000s. It was like maybe a couple years ago. So maybe like 2022, I think it was the first time I watched it. And the only reason I even checked it out is because I was a really big fan of that film, Very Bad Things, that Christian Slater was in the late 90s. And this film had that similar type of story and kind of like craziness. And so I gave this film a try a couple years ago, and not too shabby of a film. Very interesting. I would say I didn't have any. I didn't feel like it was horrible or anything like that. I found it entertaining, and I thought that it had a decent cast, and for the most part, it's that very kind of raunchy, kind of try to be serious humor, which is what kind of how Very Bad Things was. So it's definitely one of those films that you got to watch a few times to really grab all the kind of puns and funny things throughout the film and understand it. Like it's like kind of its comedy roots of kind of what it's going for, because it is considered a dark comedy. So it's one of those films, like every single time you watch it, you're going to see something a little bit new. And that just goes down to the great writing of the film, which the writing of the film I thought was done really well. So great, first experience with it. I wasn't too sure. I couldn't remember if I had really enjoyed it or not until I just recently rewatched it. And I was like, this is not too bad of a film.
Yeah, I agree with you, Saber. This today was my second reviewing. I think I enjoyed it more than the first time. But the first time, I did laugh at a couple of the jokes, but it was very dark, as you said before. It's a very, it's a dark comedy, which it's in my, my favorite part of films. If you've seen dark comedy films, they're always funny when you get the jokes and the sort of, satire they're trying to attack. Jeff, kind of curious about you, sir. Have you seen Heather's? I mean, you're a lot. I mean, you seen it in theaters. What did you thought about this movie? All
Sir,
that.
I didn't see it in theaters because because I was born in 1983. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not humanly possible that I saw the movie in theaters. I would have been 4 years old, sir, or 5 years old. So, yeah, 82. I'm sorry, Cyber, 82. I was born in 82. So, um, uh, I was too young. I saw Heather's at home. Um, uh, with my parents when it came out on like HBO or whatever it was back then, back in the day. I have very vague remembrance of watching it as a kid. I know I watched it several times. It was something that was in rotation for my dad. Like it was something he played. It was on VHS tape in the house. Like so I watched it on VHS a couple times when I was a kid, but I never really completely understood the intricacies of it or the humor or anything like that. I watched it today for the first time as an adult, and it's okay. It has some funny moments, but it's I don't know. Movies like this are tough to review for me because there's a lot of it is just conversation. It's all like that's all the movie is. It's a lot of dialogue. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough to know what to say about dialogue. Movies that are just dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, there are some events that occur, like the killings and stuff like that, to talk about. But I don't know these movies that are just like from the 80s, from the 70s, straight dialogue. Tougher to review for me.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's always tough. You have a film like this that has at least multiple things to do. Hopefully it has a good conversation to talk about. I mean, Taxi Driver is a good example of that. Like, it's very heavy talky, but you got moments where like it has these like very tense sequence that are like action, and all that. Or other drama series that have these like sporties or something like that. It's hard to just discuss and understand that. That's why I think this was a good pick. It's at least it's a comedy. It's teenage comedy age film that's like really attacking what was going on during the 80s here. Like the John Hughes films. Like this film, like completely attacks like what those films were doing during that time. The Breakfast Club or 16 Candles or Ferris Bueller Day Off. That like those kind of coming of age teenage movies, and this one just completely does the opposite of that, just attacking you know the social norm and the social class of society that's goes in high schools or in general schools, which is not far what I saw when I was growing
I
up.
don't I don't connect to stuff that I can't like. I grew up in the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't have any feel for the 80s. I don't have any remembrances of the 80s or anything like that. I don't know what was going on in the culture, like in pop culture. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I was too young to follow what was going on back then.
yeah. Yeah, no. Same here. I mean, I'm from the mid 20s, like the 2000s, and is this different for me? And you always wonder if this is true or not. Back in the 80s, this the social norm that's going on. But yes, so thank you guys for providing that opinion. For me, this is my first time this year seeing the film. I mean, I'm aware of it. If you're a big fan of, Ryder's career, Winona Ryder, this is the big one for her, besides Beetlejuice and Mermaids or, Edward Scissorhands. This is like the one that people talked about, and it's definitely her top performance. I mean, it's playing a completely different type of character that she usually plays or I mean, maybe same, but I mean, they're very different. Playing this like popular teenager kid in school and whatnot. But yeah, so let's get into the screen here. So we start with the high school. Well, first we start with a dream sequence where we meet with the three Heather girls, roughly and beautiful, girls here with the same name, Heather Duke, Heather McDam, and then we got the ruthless Queen Bee that is the leader, Heather Chandler. See these three with their very distinct color palette, of yellow, red, and green, and then they're playing some game here like golf or something like that, and they the leader Heather Chandler hits on Veronica Swayer, who was played by our main lead here, Winona Ryder, and then we kind of cut up and we go into the high school where we see Veronica is part of these three popular it kind of group, and she this very moment she's very into writing and all that. You see her in this film, it's the typical like John Hughes where she over monologues in certain scenes here, and after that we get this popular these popular teens kind of teasing everyone here, of the social norm here, in the cafeteria here. They bully one girl here who's overweight, and this whole sequence is kind of crazy. Then after that, Veronica, has a very tense rivalry between Heather Chandler. Veronica does long for her old life of a more kinder but less popular friends that she used to have, and during this cafeteria, she sees the new student, played by Kristen Slater, called Jason J.D. Dean, or Jason Dean, but shortened to J.D., as we see before. And then, pretty much wrapping up the cafeteria here, Dean does put out a gun and like fires blanks to scare the football player bullies Kurt and Ram outside. Yeah. So and he's not yet suspended, and before that, Veronica is going to be going to Chandler to a frat party. But let me stop there. Let me start with you, Jeff. What you thought about the opening sequence of the Heathers thing?
I just thought the milk containers that they had were really big compared to the ones I had in school. And I felt really bad for that big girl where they wrote the note like for her or whatever and gave it to her and all that shit. I felt really bad for her during the opening, what I'm saying, the cafeteria, the whole thing with the question about like the $5 million and the aliens or whatever and all that shit was kind of stupid. That's pretty much it.
Saber, the opening here up to Jason doing the blanks on the two bullies.
So yeah, the beginning of the film kind of gets you kind of into who these characters kind of are. They give you kind of a brief little bit insight into who they are. They give you their names, which their real names are, along with the Heather titles. And you get that dream sequence at the beginning, where Winona Ryder decides to, kind of start narrating the movie. She's stuck in the ground having the croquet balls being shot at her head, which was funny. And just right there, right off the bat, they're trying to show you, hey, this is dark comedy. This is dark comedy. So it's kind of like, you're kind of like thinking like, oh, did that really happen or not? And, you kind of figure out it's a dream sequence afterwards, but it's not really present that it is at first. It kind of just get you into the film and it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is the start of the film. But then, going to the high school, getting to be a little more introduced to Winona Ryder's character, Veronica. And, of course, they go to the cafeteria. We have that whole sequence there where we got all the different people kind of giving their kind of forethoughts on what's on the Heathers, the jocks talking about them, the nerds, the main Heather herself wants Veronica to write this letter for the fat girl to give to the jocks, and you're just kind of like, well, that seems so realistic right there. That's totally what some snooty cheerleader type of woman would have done in high school back in the 80s. Definitely feel that would have gone down to insult the fat girl and all this kind of stuff. Definitely was very picturesque of high school. And the introduction to Christian Slater is kind of funny. Him there, he's so young. He was like 18 at the time, 18, 19. When he filmed this, and it was just kind of funny seeing him so young again. I was like, wow, he was that young at one point. Holy shit. And him having that earring always cracks me up, that the earring thing, because like he has the little gold hoop thing going on, and I'm just like, that was such an 80s earring for dudes, such an 80s thing. And I just remember all the guys during the 80s, even in school, the kids had those and stuff like that. And I just thought that, the beginning leading up to your stopping point was very fun, very entertaining, lots of dialogue, like Jeff said, very dialogue heavy. And, if you're not paying attention, it can become really hard to kind of follow along. And that's why, I mentioned earlier that a few viewings every time you notice something different, because there's so much dialogue. The writing of this film definitely was like jam-packed. That the gentleman you had mentioned earlier, I remember he like basically really wrote a huge screenplay for this before the edits and rewrites and stuff like that. But I remember thinking to myself, like, this is one of those films where if you pay attention close enough, you can really understand a lot of the comedy, a lot of where they're going with this, and kind of all the little, not pet peeves, but like the little nuances to certain things. And that's why several viewings of this makes the film better and better, I feel, each time, because you're going to catch on to those. And so this beginning sequence, I think, is a decent start off to the film, and gives you an idea kind of where this film is going to go, and just kind of the dark comedy it is.
Yeah, no, I agreed. Just a little fun trivia. Daniel Waters, who wrote the screenplay of this film, initially he really wanted. I can't believe he wanted this director before this main director, Michael Lehmann, who directed the film very well, by the way. But the original director he wanted to direct this was Stanley Kubrick. And if you know, like, if you're a film buff, Stanley Kubrick is a great director. He had like a really dark sense of humor. If you haven't seen his dark, comedy film of Doctor Strangelove, or his films do have humor, but very dark sense. Clockwork Orange, very crazy film, but it has this really dark sense of humor in certain moments that are like crazy. If you've seen that film, or film Full Metal Jacket, which came out before, recently, before this movie was released in '89, it came out in '87. That film, despite how dark Full Metal Jacket is, it's it does have dark sense of humor. I mean, the drill sergeant is like ridiculous. I mean, the profanity and everything is just crazy. That was his original choice, but he couldn't. Unfortunately, then the failed attempts to get the script to Kubrick just didn't happen, and so the producer here, Dennis Nov, if I'm saying that name correctly or not, well, sorry. The producer there, who's famously involved a couple of times in Tim Burton's films, like Edward Scissorhands and all his classic '90s films, recommend the director here, Michael, to direct this film, and that's what happened. So that's how we got this film. So let's move on to the next sequence. So Veronica, after leaving high school and getting ready for the frat party, you call it. This So Veronica goes with with Heather to the frat party where they meet up with these like I guess college kids, and they're trying to basically there to have sex with both of them. So before that, you know, Veronica does meet up again with Jay Dean, and we got a couple things like she discovers that he is actually the famous explosive demolition mogul that does a lot of demolition. So we got that, and their like relationship starts to kind of blossom a little bit here. The fact that he gave her slushy and all that. So we see again, JD again, developing more of the relationship with Veronica, and then after that we go to the party, and then of course Veronica get the sense that they were just there to have sex, which we do. So of course Veronica doesn't like really have sex. She just refuses to have sex with one member. Unlike Heather, she does gets in chorus with sex. If you've seen the scene, she's performing, a oral sex and whatnot. Then after that, Veronica does feel sick, and so she accidentally vomits on Heather, and then this kind of makes Heather really angry, and she's frustrated with Veronica not being like accepted to be a mean girl. Basically, I mean, this is like the early signs of a mean girl, if everyone knows that term, mean girl, before the actual movie called Mean Girls came out in 2004. So Heather vows to destroy Veronica's reputation and retaliation in school. So after that, JD snucks into uh Veronica's room. They have, uh I say sex, and then JD tells they express to each other their mutual hatred on Veronica's tyrant reign. So after that, we get the next morning where Veronica and JD break into Heather's house and plan to revenge. They decide to use uh, a fake hangover cure to make Heather vomit, but JD pours a drain cleaner into one of the mugs. So, but Veronica dismisses him, thinking he's just making a mean joke, which in fact, he was actually making a during cocktail there, where um, Veronica thought it was going to mix orange juice and milk together, right? So after Veronica accidentally brings the wrong mug to Heather's room, which I need to ask you guys before. Let me finish it, but that was something that I had to pay attention to because that one was kind of confusing. But JD knows this change up, but dismisses it, just allowing Veronica to give her the poison mug, and despite Veronica doesn't hear JD, like stopping her or whatnot, JD serves Heather the drain killer that kills her, and pretty much they're all panicking, and the only way to kind of get rid of the crime is really to kind of forge a dramatic suicide note in Heather's handwriting. So after this, uh, yeah, the committee started to regard Heather's fair to say as a tragic decision made by a troubled teenager, and now everyone, she becomes even more popular, and everyone now worships her during the death than in life, which is kind of weird. And I think here, yes, and then Duke, which Heather, the other Heather, uses his attention surrounding Heather's death to gain popularity by going to many different news stations as after Heather's death, as she, the other Heather, aka Duke, feels needs to be the new leader for this group. So let me stop there and let me play out this. I have a 1 minute clip here and show you this video to really sum up what happened with Heather's death. But here we go.
I blame not Heather, but rather a society that tells its youth that the answers can be found in the MTV video games. we must pray that the other teenagers of Sherwood, Ohio, know the name of that righteous dude who can solve their problems. It's Jesus Christ, and he's in the book.
Oh God, this is a tragic thing, and sometimes I have a hard time dealing with it and stuff. Please send Heather to heaven and all that.
Dear God, please make sure this never happens to me, because I don't think I can handle suicide. Fast early acceptance into an Ivy League school, and please let it be Harvard. Amen.
Jesus, God in heaven, why'd you have to kill such hot snatch? It's a joke, man. Jeez, people are so serious. Hail Mary, who aren't in heaven, pray for all the sinners, so we don't get caught. Another joke, man.
I prayed for the death of Heather Chandler many times. And I felt bad every time I did it, but I kept doing it anyway. Now I know you understood everything. Praise Jesus. Hallelujah.
Hi, I'm sorry. Technically, I did not kill Heather Chandler. But hey, who am I trying to kid, right? I just want my high school to be a nice place. Amen. That's
All right. So you just saw the funeral where every kid just pray, and some of it was funny. Like the one jock say like, "Look, Jesus, I'm sorry. It's just a joke," and it's like, I was like, wow, very funny thing. So, let me start with Cyber. Cyber, what you thought about the section where Veronica goes with with Heather to the front party, and then that caused a whole rumpus up to the I guess the funeral.
Honestly, like that frat scene, basically when they go to the party, it was a very typical teenage movie vibe, like them going to that, and basically the one Heather being there for her own selfish reasons, and poor Veronica unfortunately gets sick, and for because something happened, or she was given something, or who knows what. But at the same time, you're just kind of like cracking up going, yeah, that Heather chick is a bitch. And so, as it moves on, and her and JD basically conspire to kind of to take her out, you're just kind of like cracking up at that going, ooh, this just took a very dark turn. Like this went from teen comedy to teen killer film or teen mass murderer type of vibes, drama almost, And so you're just kind of thinking to yourself like, whoa, this is go to the stream. I mean, yeah, we don't want her to screw up your high school career, but is death really the option here? And so you kind of, as you're watching that and seeing that, you're kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay, guys. This is a good idea. Not. But then, like, after they kind of, they come up with the idea and they give her the drink, and you watch her kind of just die, you're like, holy crap, they actually did it. Like, what? And, like, just their expression and, like, how JD was kind of, like, completely like, oh, well. But Veronica's like, I can't believe this just happened. You're kind of, like, thinking, like, is JD a bad influence here? I think you might want to reconsider if JD's a good influence here. And so I think that scene was done very well because Heather, of course, in that scene is such a bitch, and you're just kind of like, good riddance, she's dead, And then that funeral scene was absolutely hilarious. I love that the guy that plays the priest giving the eulogy, absolutely love him. He was in, of course, Beetlejuice, but he was in a huge amount of films over the years. He always plays good side characters. And that whole scene just cracked me up, especially that clip you just showed. And like each of them are talking in their head and you're hearing their thoughts and stuff like that was super funny. And at the same time, as he's like talking about the MTV video game, and I'm like, I'm just like cracking up going, MTV video game. What MTV video games was there? Please, let me know what this MTV video game was because I don't remember there being MTV video game. I remember there being MTV and Nintendo at the time, maybe Atari too at the same time, maybe a little Sega Genesis, but I don't recall there being any MTV game. So I was cracking up at that, going, "That's hilarious." But anyways, very interesting. Really gets you into the movie, gets the movie rolling for the very dark comedy elements, and it's done pretty well.
Yeah, the actor that plays the priest, Glenn Shadix, great, character actor. I mean, he played, of course, the Otho in Beetlejuice, as you say, for Cyber. He was also in Demolition Man. He is Associate Bob, who's so funny in Demolition Man. Great, movie there at Sci-Fi, and of course, if you haven't seen the comedy movie, Dustin Jackson he's funny there too. Of course, he voiced the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas. Jeff, tell me, my sir, what you thought about Veronica going to the frat party, being forced to have sex, up to the funeral, the first funeral.
I don't have much to say. I mean, I really like the movie with Christian Slater, Pump Up the Volume. That movie reminds me of Pump Up the Volume. But the frat party looked really stupid. It looked really boring. Like I wouldn't have wanted to go to, if that's what like an 80s frat party was like, I wouldn't have wanted to go to that party. It didn't look interesting or like fun at all. I had a hard time sticking with that scene because I just kind of fell off with it. But the death of Heather was kind of stupid because I mean, like, the way that Veronica reacted to it just seemed kind of like ridiculous to me. Like, she just kind of goes along with it. And I'm like, like Cyber said, it really didn't make any sense. Obviously like a bad situation to be in. And I enjoy Winona Ryder and and all that. Like, I like the cast of the film. Shannen Doherty was cool. I think she died, didn't she?
I think so. Yeah. I don't want to make.
Yeah.
Let me check here.
Pretty sure she's dead. Yeah, she's dead. I think.
She passed last July. Actually, yeah. Yeah, she had cancer.
Yeah. So
that's why.
I don't really have much else to say, to be honest with you. Like I said, it's tough for me to really a movie like this. It's tough for me to really have a lot of takes on it. It's just not it's like I said, it's a hard film for me to review.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I agree. With your statement about the frat party being boring, like, I mean, a lot of parties is like just drinking and talking, and then this one is like kind of the same, but the difference is like you got these two other guys trying to force these girls to have sex, which is kind of like very, and they're underage.
Well, that's like that, but that seems to be a prominent. That's like a prominent like angle, in the film, like the forcing of females to have sex.
Yeah, because this is not going to be the only time we see it, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, it just remind me like when Heather dies, right? Like because this part was kind of confusing. Because like JD, Kristen Slater's character switched the mugs, or like Veronica accidentally took the wrong mug that was toxic. Like that was the part where I was a little confused my first time viewing, or I guess she did it accidentally, and then like JD tried to say something, but like he kind of let it go, so see if like Heather will drink that toxic drink that he created with the dry cleaner, whatever, with bleach. Did you see that happening? Like was that like accidental by Veronica taking the wrong mug?
No, I didn't notice it at all.
Okay, yeah. When Cyber comes back, we'll ask him again for that. But anyway, that part was really confusing. But the second time, I think it was accidental in my second time reviewing of this movie. Because that part was like, because literally these mugs were like literally the same. But besides that, let's get moving to the movie here. So after the whole funeral happens, the other Heather, this part. So I don't know. You were like you were kind of frustrated this week. I can't believe that there's three girls named Heather. I I just had to stick with their last names, and it was so funny that they literally had the same name. So like Shannen, the late actress plays Heather Duke, so it's at least we got her last name easy to pronounce. So the other Heather, that's the other blonde, convinces Veronica to go with her to a double date with the two jocks, Kurt and Ram. And so, and then I think JD finds obviously the date is ridiculous. They take them into like the forest there, with a cow, whatnot, and then uh, they kind of force sex on the other Heather, but of course Veronica tries to get away. She finds JD. JD finds all of them even in the field, and Veronica leaves with him as Kurt passes out the other jock, while I guess this kind of is indicating that the other jock was sexually assaulting the other Heather there. So, and the boys, after that, Veronica's go into the like what do you call it, the newspaper room, or well, yeah, like newsroom, right, for the high school stuff, right. The boys spread false rumor about Veronica performing sexual things on them, and ruining her reputation, that time, which Veronica doesn't like it. So what JD does yet again, how you say, propose the idea that he and Veronica lured the boys into the woods, shoot them with tranquilizers, and humiliate them by staging the scene to look that they were lovers, participating in a suicide pact. So, let me stop there. Yeah. And then, well, actually, let me continue on, and then we'll wrap up with the scene here. In the forest, so we get into the forest there. In the forest, they arrive, and Veronica tells them to go to these two spots here. So, and unfortunately, they shoots at the other jock, and then, but, shoots at Ram, who dies here, and then after that, Veronica unfortunately misses Kurt, who runs away, but JD chases Kurt back towards Veronica, who's realizing that the bullets are real and they're faithful, and in panic. And then where we get the Hazy at the funeral, we get the boys made to be, yeah, yeah, martyrs to homophobe, and disturbed by this behavior of of the boyfriend. Veronica tries to break up with him. So let me stop here. Oh, and I do have a clip here. One of the funniest things, when the boys are now proceed to be homosexual couple here. I got this clip for that. It's one of my favorite lines for some reason for this movie. So right here.
If there's any way you can hear me, Kurt, buddy. I don't care that you really were some pansy. You're my own flesh and blood, and no, you made me proud. My son's a homosexual, and I love him. I love my dead gay son.
I'm sorry, I had to show that clip. It was so funny. The dad came and was like, I love my boy. I don't care if he's gay. I still love him. I love my gay dead son. Anyway, Jeff, what you thought about the I guess, yeah. So after, so the other Heather convincing Veronica to date the double date with the jocks, and then up to the jocks' funeral. Go ahead.
I don't really have much to say. I mean, I that was the only thing I found funny at all in the movie was the dead gay son deal. Besides that, I mean, I thought it was kind of stupid that Winona Ryder character Veronica just just rolls with the guys getting shot. Like she just kind of she breaks up with dude, but she kind of goes with it at the same time. You know,
Yeah.
and so like I don't know, it's kind of farcical that they would be able to pull that off. The cops being so stupid like that, kind of hard to believe, right? That's about it.
Yeah. No, I agreed. I don't understand why Veronica like thinks that they were triangulates, or like the fact that last time it was like he was the one that killed, the first Heather. So yeah, it was. But she comes to realize that very quickly, after this, unfortunate death. Saver, welcome back. So we're up to the second after the post first Heather funeral. We get the other Heather asking Veronica to do the double date with the jocks here, up to the jocks' funeral. That they're perceived to be homosexual. Go ahead.
So this portion of the film, once again, lots of dark humor. Basically we get, the one Heather, the new head Heather asking, you know, uh, Veronica to go out with these two jocks. And then, as we have come to know these jocks in the film, they're definitely very funny. They're kind of, dumb lug type of guys. And most definitely are not, to me, weren't homosexual. And so the whole like lie that made them think that they're homosexual that gets put out there is absolutely hilarious. And making that the one guy's dad say that about him was absolutely freaking hilarious. And just really like pulls the laugh factory there for you in that scene, because especially during the 80s, there was a lot of that, that kind of comedy going around about, people coming out of the closet and stuff like that. And, people finding out, fathers finding out their sons were gay and stuff like that, which was a very common kind of comedic thread through the 80s. And so that particular scene is just really hilarious to watch, almost 40 years later, 35 years later now, just like how different that was back then compared to now. So I found that scene like super funny and refreshing compared to how they do things today. And just completely very hilarious, that whole sequence, and how they're being buried, like how they have them presented at the funeral too, like they're in their helmets and stuff like that, was absolutely hilarious. But like the double date itself, I think is a very kind of funny comical sequence that it borderlines kind of boring, but at the same time there's some good one-liners that get across that make it kind of funny and kind of entertaining. So you don't really get too lost in it, but at the same time there's some good quips by both sides in that sequence. So I think that this portion of the film is decent, not too bad. Definitely the funeral scene is probably the best part of this sequence that really pulls you back in the film and wanted to see more.
No, I agree. Yeah, this part is just another big surprise that I wasn't expecting. That we get another kill, another kill by Jason Dean, and it just shows that character was very like he's very crazy. The way his father and him talk each other is like very like weird. He's calling him like father, and then he call him his Jason calls him son. It's shows that kind of like family life they have. And obviously later in later in the film we discovered that the mom died accidentally by standing in the building of one of the construction demolitions that his father was doing. And it's very disturbing to hear that. You see how how this kid came out, and see his worldview of what's life and all that, which we'll get into because he has now this massive like we get into now the massive plan he has that he wants to do towards the end of the finale. So here he blackmail Heather Duke, the famous Nightingale actress, yeah, and Charm as well. The first 3 seasons, getting into every student to sign a petition that, unbiased to her, is intended to be like a massive suicide note. We don't know why, but we'll get into that and how to like kind of survey her. Yeah, sway her to do this. It says she gives her the red, what do you call it, like fabric elastic hair tie to her hair that was originally from the first Heather, that because her color was full of red, and so because it symbolized like her leadership and being the leader, being the next leader. So Heather Duke wants to become the next leader, and so this color represents her now having the power, right? And so pretty much, JD gives her that symbolizing her power over the school. And then at the same time, we get Martha. That's the overweight girl that we see here, who is frankly targeted by the bullying by the girls and in general the school here. She tries to kill herself walking into traffic. Try to do the same thing. What happened with the 3 victims here? We see here, try to gain some popularity or something like that. But she survives, but badly injured and mocked by her peers, who believed that she was tempted to copy the Popper kids. So the other Heather we see here, the other Heather, the blonde one, calls in a radio show to discuss her depression, and even that gets kind of hezzy bullied by, because Heather here, Heather Duke, tells the entire school about the radio call, and now she's bullied. This part I kind of missed. I didn't know that Duke, Heather Duke kind of revealed the call that was actually from her friend here, and so this other Heather, blonde, like again is trying to do a suicide attempt by overdosing in the girls' bathroom, but Veronica intervenes here, and then after that, Veronica, yeah, oh my god, Veronica returns home. Her parents say that after JD stopped by and tell her that he's worried about, she will attempt suicide. Like she's kind of sabotaging her, right? Realizing that her former boyfriend has plans to kill her during that night. She fakes her own death by hanging, which was kind of crazy. And then this is where he spills out the plan here, revealing the massive suicide note, and assuming. And plus, he has a plan to blow up the whole school and the pep rally and make it look like it's a massive suicide. So let me stop there. Cyber, what you thought about? JD blackmailing the other Heather Duke to like do this petition, up to him finding Veronica faking her death and like does this evil monologue revealing his whole plan for the finale.
So this section of the episode or film, basically really starts to get into the meat of what the film is about. And so once JD decides to blackmail Shannen Doherty's character, we really get into the thought process here of, there's more to this guy than meets the eye. His thought process on the last 2 killings, definitely he already had some sort of agenda going on here, which, is kind of like, you're like, ooh, this guy, I think he's really sick upstairs. Definitely something's wrong with this guy. Would be kind of the lights going off in your head going, hey, yeah, why am I with this dude? Maybe I should tell somebody about this, I say accidentally didn't mean to kill the other Heather, etc. And, so once, he gets into the blackmailing aspect in this plot, you really get kind of a really good inkling of who JD really is. And so as it moves along and we find out what the blackmailing is about and stuff like that, and leading up to kind of, Veronica having to fake her own death to not be killed by JD, and then he ends up revealing his true plot. You're just kind of like, holy crap. You should have saw this from the beginning. From that first kill, you should have figured this out. I mean, it was just so obvious. And yet, she was blinded by his good looks and his bod, she couldn't help it, as we saw, and like I think the second time they interact, they fuck. So I mean, it wasn't the brain working in this whole situation. It was another brain on her part, which usually it's the other way around. But in this situation, unfortunately, Winona Ryder just, couldn't get her brains working. And, so we had this, this great kind of, camaraderie going on here, with between them that leads up to this like climactic exchange of what's really going on. And I think that it plays out in the end, that big reveal of him giving his true story out, it really is what is the culmination, I feel, of this film. So I thought this section is probably my favorite part. Simple fact that we finally find out what JD's real inspiration is. And then, Veronica's fake death was done really well. I liked how she did it. And I think that she did a really good job in trying to pretend to be dead. And I thought that worked out really well, too. So a decent, one of my more favorite parts of the film that, gives you kind of a great intro into the climactic ending.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it was very clever how Veronica faked her death. And it was, I like how the payoff, the mom comes into the room and she sees his, I like how, like, we always get these characters say, I'm sorry, I should have let you do this or this. And I like, the reason, like, I like how the mom responds, like, I'm so sorry, I should have let you have that mold job, to get out of the house. And then she, takes her down, like Veronica takes down from the noose, and then it's like, oh, I'm okay. Very funny, dark humor there. Jeff, any thoughts on the section here with JD blackmails the other Heather up to Veronica faking her death to hear this whole evil plan?
I kind of fell off with the movie at that point and really kind of had a hard time paying attention to what was going on. Okay. So I dipped out a couple times during it, and didn't really focus much on the fake suicide stuff or anything like that. I thought the parents were like entertaining. Her parents during the movie were entertaining. That was like a positive, but no, not really that much, to be honest with you. I like Christian Slater. This is not one of his best performances at all, I don't think. No, but he's still solid in the film. Like I said, you've seen Pump Up the Volume before. I really like that film that he made. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. Not his best performance. I mean, there's other ones. And I agree with you about the parents. They were very funny. Like, I always like the running gag where, why I'm doing this, and I like how Veronica say, "You're an idiot." That was funny. So I really enjoyed that. So we're pretty much up to the climax. Let me just put the trailer here, and then we'll come back. Let's have a little break here, and then after the trailer, we'll get back and pretty much wrap up the whole movie completely. So here we go. And before that, let me not forget about the cancellation is already off. Right here, blah 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 blah. Where is the goddamn trailer I have here? All right, here we go.
I wanted to be a member of the most powerful clique in school.
Dear Diary, Heather said she teaches people real life.
You were nothing before you met me. You were a Girl Scout cookie.
Does it not bother you that everybody in this school thinks that you're a piranha? Like I give a shit.
Heather number one just looked right at me. You a Heather?
No, I'm a Veronica. I don't really like my friends.
I don't really like your friends either.
They're people I work with, and our job is being popular.
Maybe it's time to take a vacation.
I just killed my best friend.
And your worst enemy.
Same difference. My teen angst has a body count. This is a tragic thing.
Hallelujah.
We scare people into not being assholes. What did you say, dickhead?
want them dead.
You did too.
Did not. Shut up.
I love my dead gay son.
You were out of control.
That knife is filthy.
What do you think I'm gonna do with it? Take out her tonsils? Ha! Is this as good for you as it is for me?
Knife and sock.
That's it. We're breaking up.
Right there, folks. That was the trailer of Heather's. Well, the restoration trailer, what do you want to call it? Yeah. So let's get into the finale. Any thoughts on the trailer, folks? Any gags and jokes that we didn't check? Okay, very good. Saber, Andy.
And I just highlighted all the great points we've already talked about.
All right, awesome. So yeah, so as you say before, so towards the trailer, Veronica does break up with JD, and now we see here the finale here where JD is trying to plant the dynamite in the gymnasium, equipped with the remote detonators, as he proceeds into the school boiler room. During this time, Heather is like trying to find him, and so she's like hides in the girls' bathroom and all that, and so. The reason he goes to the school boiler's room is to place the dynamite with the countdown detonator, and so Veronica, actually, let me do this first here. Just give a minute here. After Veronica, after placing out the countdown detonator, Veronica confronts JD in the boiler room, where these two kind of like just do like a face off. 3 times. She has the gun, and then he gains the gun after knocking her out. And then after that, she finally has him on his wing, so he shoots him. But like literally, shooting him his middle finger, which is crazy. And during his fall, the switchblade in his hand cuts the wires to the detonator. So after that, promotion is done. Veronica goes out to have a cigarette, and then JD follows her with the bomb strapped to his chest. So he offers like a personal eulogy to her, and then he detonates the bomb and killing himself, which was a pretty dark end for that character of JD, Jason D. So as the students and the faculty rush to see what happened, pretty much getting out the alley, Veronica walks back inside. This mess from the explosion, right? She processes to the Duke, Heather Duke, to take the red hair tie and asserts to Duke that she's no longer in charge. And Veronica is now in charge. And at the same time, she meets Martha here, and she asks her to prom night and watch movies together. And that's where we end the film there. So, Jeff, any opinions on the ending here, sir? The climax. Do you enjoy it? It was a lot of action for you.
No, there wasn't much action. I mean, the shooting of him was pretty well done. In terms of the special effects and all that, the visual effects and all that, and the not visual effects, but the
makeup,
80s effects and all that, the spooks and all that with the it works. Seeing his hand get shot off was good. I like that. I mean, I guess if you're a really big fan of Heather's, I guess the ending is probably really great. I thought it was okay. I liked how Winona Ryder looked when she was all disheveled and all that, right at the end. Like I liked her walking around like that. And then she goes with the fat chick there at the end, they're like gonna go dyke out or whatever. And it was great. I loved it. Winona Ryder's dope. She was really hot back in the day.
Yeah. She was very hot. I think she still aged very well today.
Oh yeah, she's still really hot for her age.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the recent Beetlejuice or Straight Beans, she looks awesome still. But thank you, sir, for your awesome comment, sir. And Saber, what are your thoughts on the climax here? Did it deliver for you for this film and all that?
I mean, honestly, watching it, I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, holy crap, there's a whole bunch of crap that goes on at the end here. I mean, between her shooting JD and then him exploding himself, I was like, what the fuck kind of ending is this? I was like, holy shit. I was like, this has gotten dark, dark, dark. Like, am I watching a drama or am I watching a dark comedy here? And so, when he walks out with a bomb strapped to him after it had failed inside the gymnasium, I remember just thinking to myself, like, is he really going to blow himself up? And he actually does it. I'm like, what the hell? And just like how she walks back in, like all disheveled, but at the same time, just like nothing happened, was like absolutely hilarious. And I have to agree with Jeff. Winona Ryder is definitely one of those women that I feel she's gotten hotter with age, and I definitely feel she was at this point right here, like her, just around 18 is really what she started to blossom. And then I think over the years I've watched her in a few other films and stuff like that. I remember thinking, damn, she fine. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, that's the same girl from Beetlejuice, because I remember watching her in Beetlejuice and going, she's okay. I wasn't like really into her then, but when I like after seeing her in this, and then as time went on and I saw her in some later projects and stuff like that, I just remember going, wow, she actually is pretty damn good looking, and she's got a pretty good body. And I was just like, she has acting and a body. I'm like, wow, this is great. Anyways, she was fantastic in the film. Overall, I think her climax here at the end when she, tells Duke that she's the leader now, it was absolutely fantastic. Basically taking, hey, I just had to deal with this psychopath. I'm the leader now. It was kind of a great kind of climax to the film, but still blows me away every time watching the ending, how it ends with him, with Christian Slater killing himself. That's crazy. And just overall, just a very interesting ending to a very black, dark comedy that, over time, it's a very entertaining film that has some great points to it, and can be boring at times too. But overall, I think a decent ending to this film.
No, I agree. I think I got into Renora when Edward Scissorhands I saw, because she was great in that blonde hair. By the way, she is actually blonde. I think I checked that she's like actually blonde, but she like prefers to be brunette. What I'm saying, she was hot in Edward Scissorhands, where I discovered that she can act / be hot at the same time in that film. Yes, Edward Scissorhands. So, Cyber, ratings. What do you rate for this film?
Me
I
first?
give it a.
Oh, Cyber. Sorry. sorry, Cyber. Cyber, you go.
I give it a solid 6. It's decent. It's entertaining. Is it the greatest? No. Is it one of my favorites? No. But definitely has some entertainment value. So I give it a 6.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I guess I'd say a 6 is probably a reasonable or a fair number. I'll give it a 6.
All right. I'll go a little higher. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a good, decent film. I mean, I've seen so many like teen coming of age films, like John Hughes films. I definitely put it high to that, but it could never beat like the ones for me, like Ferris Bueller Day Off, or The Perks of Being a Teenage Wallflower. It's maybe not up there, because of the humor and like the constant shift of tones in this film is like kind of jarring. Like, okay, you're a dark comedy, and then you're trying to be drama, like as Cyber said before. It's like, what we're doing here, like we're very dramatic here now. It's like, okay, so yeah, very inconsistent, not too inconsistent, but like it's a very like jarring thing to like experience as a reviewer. But the second time watching this film, I thought it was a better review. As Cyber say, it's you always have to appreciate these films in multiple viewings. So I want to say thank you to you guys for coming today on Heather's live stream review. Let me plug you guys out, which I should have done, but let me take this moment here that tomorrow the three amigos here are going to be back again to do the Penguin review. For what episode is this? Episode 6? Yeah, episode 6 of the Penguin. First, and then of course me and Jeff are going to do after Cyber release on during that show, we'll review Daryl Dixon episode 5. So let me pull out Cyber here first. He's a gentleman. Uh, I mean, it's my show, so he goes first, I guess. Uh, right now, and now I'm talking to myself, just like any other crazy person here.
I am a gentleman in a scholar, sir.
Yes. Exactly. I got scared. I think I thought I got a shark channel, and then I didn't realize you actually changed your thumbnail, sir. Anyway, let me get.
I have not changed my thumbnail since I
Okay.
created the channel.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, hold on. Let me show you this right now. I have your channel right here. Okay. Right there. Go on. What you got for this week, sir? Any content? I need to check your Beetlejuice review, sir, because I love that movie. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so if you enjoy me here on the Andres of Pop Culture live stream, or if you enjoy me on the MCU Building Edge as a moderator or on the guest panel, you can check out my solo content. You can find me under Cybernetic Shark, all one word, on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Patreon. You find me there. And my most recent video for you guys up is, of course, my Transformers 1 movie review. Absolutely great film. If you have not seen it, definitely check it out. I will be having my Wall the Robot review up shortly. My most recent short, of course, is my mini review of Venom: The Last Dance. And then, of course, Saturday Night and Smile 2. If you have not seen all 3 of those films, definitely check out these mini reviews of them. We'll have full reviews of all 3 of those films up soonish. And be having more content up for you guys. Really not too much coming out in the next couple weeks. It's November doesn't look like a very big month for films, except for Red One. I think Moana 2 is coming out too as well.
Yeah.
So not too much coming up, but be having more stuff for you guys up soon for that kind of stuff. And just keep on watching, keep on viewing. We'll be having be doing a live stream eventually here soon on my channel. We'll be doing the film Nosferatu soon for you guys, especially since it's over 100 years old. So thought I'd start off with that masterpiece, silent film, very interesting film. If you have not seen it, highly recommend checking it out. But yeah, thank you for having me, Andres. And yeah, definitely subscribe, people. Subscribe. Check out my Patreon.
Yes. How was Venom 3? Just this sidetrack. How was that movie?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was super funny. It was that over-the-top humor, but with lots of great action. And we got to see a whole shit ton of symbiotes. Really fat ass.
So, question. How you rank this in the trilogy? You think it's number 1, or you still like the first one or the second? I'm kind of curious about that.
I would put it at number 2.
Okay. That's what I'm hearing about people. They say they prefer it over the Venom 2. All right. Jeff, here we go. Do your thing that you always do.
That I always do. I don't usually do plugs. The MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel podcast is wrapping up Agatha. I'm moderating on Wednesday night. We're wrapping up Agatha. Agatha all along. Imran will be back 9:35 p.m. Eastern. And on Friday, on 9:35 p.m. Eastern, we got Wonder Woman. And then we're going to make up Black Hawk Down. That's Friday. So we've got Wonder Woman on Friday, and we got Black Hawk Down the Friday after. That's pretty much it. Besides that, support the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. We love Andres, the pop culture guy. Support his YouTube channel, and much success wished on you, Andres.
Thank you. What happened to Black Hawk Dawn? Just not enough hosts came.
Not enough guests. We didn't have enough people. So we put it off.
Okay, sorry to hear that. I heard good things about the movie. Sorry to hear that. as you heard before, folks, we're gonna be back again next week. So remember, Monday is the Monday report. The Three Amigos will be back again tomorrow night. Wednesday, we're gonna wrap up Africa, which is crazy. The two final episodes, which is kind of crazy. It's gonna be a 2 hour Finanza Wednesday, and then Friday we're gonna review our first movie review for November, which come on, crazy. Wonder Woman, which is great. So thank you guys so much for coming. Please support, subscribe my channel, hit the like button, check out the latest content. Of course, this week I'm wrapping up the 12 days of Halloween, so you're gonna see a lot of Halloween themes and stuff like that to wrap up 2024 of Halloween. Bye, guys.
Trump for life, bitch. What's up?
No, get out of here.